viewers on Talking Tech. As a starter, can you talk us through the two main business lines for Sensera?
Sure, thanks. We have two businesses that are very synergistic. The first business which the company was founded on was, or is, I should say, the MEMS business. And that's micro machines. That is a very small structure that is used in complex devices. In our case, there's a couple key areas, which is primarily the medtech space. So, small devices that do analytics on medical type information, and then they are also used in industrial applications. The second part of the business was acquired. It was a company called Nanotron out of Berlin, Germany. They're known for their location awareness and has moved us up the stack to be able to offer a full solution on location and location analysis for IoT applications.
Right. Okay. Starting off with MEMS then, can you talk a little bit about the key markets where it's the applicability, what other markets you're targeting with that maybe at some point, and also your go-to-market strategy, because I understand that's specific in how you sort of get new customers on board.
Yeah. So on the MEMS devices, what we're best known for, where we have some competitive advantages around fluidics, so anything I call it liquid in regards to capturing that liquid. There are very small, very minuscule structures that do that. So with that, the key market that we address is essentially the medical market, where there's a lot of that type of activity that's ongoing. But also industrial, there are industrial applications. We do more than that, but that is the area where I see the best potential for us. And we do have some anchor customers right now in those spaces that are helping us progress that business forward. Longer term, the goal is to use some of that capability and build full sensors, not just the MEMS structure, but actually the entire subsystem that will then get integrated with some of the things that we're doing with the Nanotron technology.
Right.
And our goal is to have a mix of that. So have I'll call it medical type applications that we have end customers for, and then some that we supply internally for that full solution.
Right. And in terms of getting new customers for the MEMS business, I understand you start very early on in their sort of product development. Can you talk a little bit about that and how then you move into sort of the volume production?
Yeah, it's a long cycle, which is sometimes frustrating because we'd like to get to revenue quicker, and we do start off at the very beginning because it's a core piece of the technology that they end up using. So for instance, if you have a skin patch and there are, like little pillars that need to touch your skin, it's almost like a sensor. That's the core part of, let's say, that particular end product.
Right.
And our MEMS structure is that interface to your skin. So, and that, as you can imagine, can take quite a bit of time. So, sometimes these cycles are 2 years, but once you have a structure built, then there's follow-on business and consistently new applications to that base. From a customer-based perspective, we do outreach into those key markets.
Sure.
Our team is located in Boston, Massachusetts, in the U.S., and that is a key medical market. So we have a lot of local customers, but we also are branching out into other areas of the world.
Right. And so the point is, get in early, design into their products, and then as they ramp up, you guys sort of tag along with that in supplying volumes for these products.
Correct, yeah. And it's a very sticky business because, as we just discussed, you're in early, it's very customized.
Sure.
And then once you're in, unless you have issues, you should continue with that business.
Yeah, okay. Switching to Nanotron, can you talk a little bit about the markets that you're addressing right now and sort of what the product offering is, how you target these markets, the channel partners, collaboration partners?
Sure. In the Internet of Things, key aspect of that technology as it's being deployed into the market, which it really is in the early stages of deployment, knowing where you are and having contextual information of that is a key part of the information that gets transferred. So in Nanotron's case, that's exactly what they do, and they have one of the most robust solutions in the world. And the two key markets that we feel like we also have a competitive advantage in is in the mining space, which is a very harsh environment, as you can imagine, and then in the animal health arena, which is also a bit of a harsh environment. So we use radio frequency essentially to transmit location data, and then there are typically some level of analytics that then put some contextual information around that to then have somebody do something meaningful from a business perspective.
Right.
So the two markets we think are very large, multi-billion dollars, and they're I'll say the early stages of adoption of this technology as well. So we see quite a bit of growth coming from them.
And a typical farm, what would that look like? I know it's probably hard to answer because there's so many different farm sizes and such, but just for viewers trying to get their heads around what it means in terms of number of tags, number of anchors, and potentially also sort of a revenue per customer, if you could put it like that.
Yeah, so I'll start at the last point of your question, which is really our average revenue size per farm is about $2,500 US. It's typically around 400 cows, and our system sits in the barn area, and it really essentially is highly accurate in tracking what the animal does, and that information is then used in one of our customers' case to identify cows that have issues, that don't have the correct yield, as an example, out of that. So there's quite a bit of valuable information that comes out of that. We've had and are looking at farms in the thousands of animals, again down to much lower than the 400 that we see as an average. From a penetration perspective, so far we're in the hundreds of farms, and we see in the next year to two going into the thousands of farms quite easily. So.
Okay, you said 2,500 per farm?
$2,500 US.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And on the mining side, I guess the numbers could be a bit higher, given the mines are large and many miners sort of work in all sorts of double shifts and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So the way to think about it is we're progressed pretty far in the animal health area, and so for the next year or two, I suspect that will be a larger part of our revenue stream. But the longer term market availability is really in the mining space. That is a very large market, to your point. We are in over 50 mines today and have trials in about 10 or so more. And we're adding a mine every month to 2 months to that, to that revenue stream possibility. And we're mostly in underground mines, which is really only about roughly, say, 20% of the overall market.
Right.
And we have a few installations in open pit mines. And one of our expansion strategies is to get a stronger base in the open pit because it is 80% of the market.
Right.
Once we've established ourselves in a much more harsher and difficult environment like the underground, we're starting to see these opportunities open up for us.
Would you say underground mines are more lucrative for you guys, given the number of anchors that you need to install inside these tunnels and shafts?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Is some of the mines, like a Turkish mine or Mexican mine, I can think of that are quite large in tens of kilometers and even hundreds of kilometers. Right. And each of these anchors sits every few hundred meters.
Right. Okay.
And so the anchors themselves are a better part of our business from a margin perspective than the actual tags are that you put on people or assets.
Yeah. Okay. You bought Nanotron about 6 months ago. What made you decide to buy that business?
Yeah, I think again, it was the desire to sort of move up the spectrum of products and hence importance to the end customer, right? If we can offer a full solution to a customer, stick with the mining case, such as an end mine, and we go and outfit the whole mine with the anchors, with the tags, and with the software that goes along with that, That's very powerful. Add to that we have the sensing technology out of the Micro Devices Group in Boston, and there's more functions we can offer. So, for instance, we could do gas level sensing on a tag, and that's very powerful in both end market applications. So, the strategy has been to go kind of more of a target-focused market with a full-end solution. Right. And then, ultimately where we want to take it is to the point where we're able to offer location, for instance, and these sensing capabilities as a service. And so a customer could decide a CapEx versus an OpEx decision. Do I lay out capital to buy the whole system, or do I essentially lease it?
Yeah, sure.
So that's, from a trajectory perspective where we're heading.
Yeah, okay. And so looking out in terms of M&A, what would you be looking for to add sort of to the puzzle?
Yeah, we continue to look at partnerships and acquisitions, but I think a lot of that starts with partnerships first. We recently engaged in a partnership on the software side to go up the software stack and give us more analytic capability. So that's a good example of an area, again, where we need more capability. On the product side, there are many different RF technologies, radio frequency technologies, that are necessary. We have our own, which we build a chip for, but most recently we've offered customers other solutions, and so I think having a gamut to do that it is important. So I'll give you another example, which is our technology from a tag capability is really meant to be inside in a barn, in relatively low space area. Some parts in the world need much longer distances, so there are other technologies that could help us go do that, and then we can offer more total solutions.
Sure. So you're talking about longer range,
right?
Transmissions and such.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, lastly, sort of longer term, looking out, say 5 years, maybe 10 years, even. What are your aspirations for Sensera?
Yeah, we want to be known as an edge provider, and I use the term edge, kind of as a big term, and that again goes back to what I said earlier, which is having a total solution for a customer to then go take all this information that's available on the Internet of Things, and then being able to get a key business result out of it. And that's pretty broad, but as I said earlier, in IoT, kind of where and when is very, very important. It's a core piece of the information, which we believe we've got the core technology to go do. There's lots of data out there you can see in the IoT expansion. I'll give you one piece that I've seen written up is this progression to the edge, where essentially all these sensing capabilities exist, will generate about 40 zettabytes of data in the next year, which is about 100 to 1,000 times more than the last 5 years. Right. And so there's a huge progression, and we got to be able to do something with that information, not just gather it. Yeah. And we want to be part of that ecosystem to go do that.
All right, excellent. Well, Ralph, thank you for being with us today.
Great.
And we've got a lot to look forward to. I think there's a lot happening in this space. So yeah, we'll keep a close eye on the company.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.